What if everything you've been taught about kindness was nothing more than a subtle trap, designed to keep you in chains? What if the people around you aren't as naive as they seem, but are simply playing by entirely different rules? Rules where kindness is just another currency, and ignorance, a source of power. This is not about intellect as such, but about how dangerous and powerful your own mind can become. If you're still here, then Niccolo Machiavelli has prepared for you something far greater than mere history lessons. Together, we will dive into a world where morality is often nothing but an illusion. You were raised to believe that being good means being safe, that honesty brings respect, and that justice brings peace. But here's the first truth. Machiavelli whispers from across the centuries. It is far safer to inspire fear than love, if you cannot achieve both. This is not a call to cruelty. No, this is a call to cold clarity. Clarity that burns away all illusions. In a world driven by fear, envy, and self-interest, Machiavelli teaches, do not think like prey. Do not behave like a victim. Look around. Those who fear losing you will value your friendship, your presence, your partnership far more than those who merely love you, but fear no consequences. I learned this myself at the dawn of my career, when I too often tried to be everything to everyone. I was kind, responsive, always ready to help. And what happened? My kindness was exploited, my concessions abused. Only when I learned to say no and to set firm boundaries, even when it provoked displeasure, did I notice how people's attitudes shifted. I was respected, not used. What do you think will happen if you stop being convenient to everyone? Let's move to the next lesson. People react not to who you truly are, but to who you appear to be. If you wish to be truly dangerous in mind, learn to control perception. Machiavelli knew well, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you really are. Your image is your armor, your shield, your sword. In a world where first impressions often become a final verdict, mastering the way others see you is an art of survival. Think of how often we ourselves form opinions based on someone's posture, their choice of words, or even the pauses they make. If you allow others to put labels on you, you give them control over your fate. But if you craft your own image, you become the master of your game. Unpredictable, unreadable, able to vanish in plain sight and strike when least expected. Unpredictability is power. Predictability is weakness. Hide your true intentions under the veil of neutrality. Mirror the expectations of others, and when the time comes, bend them to your will. I often recall times when I needed to convince a very conservative group of people to adopt an idea radically new to them. Instead of showing all my cards at once, I began by fully supporting their current familiar views. I spoke their words, shared their concerns, creating the illusion of complete agreement. Only once their guard was lowered did I gradually lead them toward my ideas, presenting them as the logical extension of their own thoughts. They accepted the decision, sincerely believing it was theirs. What are you willing to change in your behavior to become unreadable to others? Emotions are weapons, but only if you keep your finger on the trigger. Do you know what makes you an easy target for manipulation? The craving for approval, emotional reactions, the desperate need to be understood, the dangerously intelligent no. Control your reactions, and you control the outcomes. Imagine someone insults you. Most will instantly react, defend, lash out, retaliate. But you will smile, observe, study. Because the more someone craves your reaction, the more power you gain by withholding it. Machiavelli never advised suppressing emotions. He advised turning them into weapons. Think back to a time you were provoked. The first reaction, anger, hurt, the urge to strike back. But it is exactly in that moment you become predictable, vulnerable. I myself once fell into that trap. At an important meeting, a rival tried to provoke me with sly remarks. My instinct was to hit back, to show strength. But I stopped. I breathed. I simply observed. His words ricocheted off my calmness, and when he failed to get the reaction he wanted, he looked foolish and unprofessional. That was a lesson. The one who remains calm becomes invisible to attack, immune to manipulation. This is not suppression of emotions, it is their transformation into strategic weapons. Intellect is not what you know, it's what you conceal. Everyone wants to appear smart, but Machiavelli would laugh at your need to always be right. He would say, the one who seeks to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived. This wisdom is both a warning to the overly open and a guide to those who understand the power of silence. True intelligence is not in showing all your knowledge, but in concealing it, while letting others reveal their own cards. I've seen this countless times. At meetings, when someone talks too much, desperate to show how clever they are, they inevitably expose their weaknesses, their true motives, their fears. But those who remain quiet, who listen intently, who drop just one but weighty phrase, they become a mystery. And mystery inspires not only respect, but also a subtle fear. How do you fight someone whose true intentions you do not know? What information will you stop revealing about yourself in order to become stronger? You don't need to be evil to be dangerous. But you must understand those who are. This world is unjust, and Machiavelli never wanted it that way. He wanted you to understand how unjust systems work, so you could move through them unstained. People will use morality to trap you. They will appeal to your conscience to force you into a losing game. But if you are intelligent, dangerously intelligent, you will smile, agree, and do exactly what benefits you. Not because you are selfish, but because you are strategic. In a world where morality is often used as a tool of manipulation rather than a true compass, Machiavelli calls us to cold realism. He does not teach us to be evil. He teaches us to be invulnerable to the evil that thrives around us. How many times have I seen people cornered by appeals to their conscience or sense of duty, forced to play by someone else's rules, sacrificing their own interests? This is not selfishness. It is self-preservation. It is the understanding that if you do not take care of yourself, no one else will. The true danger is not in being bad, but in being blind to how the bad play, and allowing them to use your kindness against you. Be strategic, not naive. Smile, agree, and do what serves you, because only then will you stay in the game. What will you do when moral arguments are used against you? Detachment, perhaps the hardest skill you will ever master. But once you stop craving comfort, attachment, and approval, you will begin to see people as they truly are, opportunists, puppets of emotion, creatures of habit and fear. Machiavelli was not heartless. He was clear-eyed. He taught that true freedom begins where your dependence on others' approval and attachment ends. Detachment is not indifference, it is clarity of vision. It doesn't mean you must become an emotionless machine. It means you must stop depending on others' opinions, approval, or affection. Machiavelli teaches us to see the world as it is without rose-colored glasses or illusions. I went through this myself. For a long time I sought validation of my worth outside, in the approval of friends, in the praise of colleagues, in the recognition of society. And every time I didn't receive it, I felt empty. But then I realized, this thirst for approval makes me a slave. It makes me conform, please, become someone I am not. The moment I no longer needed it, when I realized my inner worth, the world around me changed. I began to see people not as sources of my satisfaction, but as complex, often predictable mechanisms driven by fear and desire. And that freedom from dependence, believe me, is the rarest and most powerful form of power. You were never meant to think like everyone else. You were born to decode the system, not to serve it. You were created to study and master it. Are you ready to let go of attachments to become truly free? Sometimes to rise above circumstances, to gain true power over your destiny, you need more than just persistence. You need to dive deep into the hidden mechanisms of other people's minds, to understand their desires, their fears, their true motives, and only then, armed with this knowledge, rise above them. The path to mastery does not lie through brute force or cruelty, but through cold, precise calculation. This is what the great Florentine, Niccolo Machiavelli, truly spoke of. His name became synonymous with deceit, but his ideas were nothing more than a merciless reflection of reality. He did not call for wickedness. He called for clarity of mind and strategic thought. His philosophy is not about how to be bad, but how to be effective in a world that is far from ideal. The truth is far more complex than the shallow stereotypes. Machiavelli was not a gloomy philosopher obsessed with darkness. He simply refused to lie, to himself first, and then to others. He saw the world as it was, with all its flaws and weaknesses, and he was unafraid to name things as they were. But what if true strength lies not in moral dogmas, but in ruthless clarity of vision, the kind that pierces through the fog of self-deception? Are you ready to see the world without rose-colored glasses, as the great Florentine once did? The key distinction Machiavelli insisted upon lies in the choice between cruelty and calculation. Cruelty is an emotional impulse, often meaningless and counterproductive, leading to hatred and destruction. Calculation, on the other hand, is cold, logical analysis, aimed at achieving goals with minimal cost and maximum efficiency. It is the mastery of foresight, the ability to use levers of influence without resorting to brute force. To refuse to lie to yourself about the nature of power and human relations is not a flaw, but an advantage. It allows you to see true motives hidden behind fine words, and to make decisions based on facts, not illusions. This truth may be uncomfortable, but it is precisely what gives freedom and control. How many opportunities slip away while we cling to convenient illusions and fear to face reality? What will you lose if you continue to ignore the harsh truth of human nature, instead of using it to your advantage? And now I ask you a question that may change everything. Are you ready to stop playing by rules that perhaps were never meant for your victory? Are you ready to abandon naive notions of fair play in a world where not everyone is fair with you? In a world where others have long been playing by their own unwritten laws? To stop playing fair, this is not a call to treachery. It is a call to strategic thinking, to the understanding that in any game there are rules, and there are ways to interpret them, even rewrite them in your favor, not by crossing ethical boundaries, but by using them to your fullest advantage. It means playing not against someone, but better than someone, using your intellect and insight. If this video lit a spark within you, if you felt the readiness to dive deeper into the shadows of your own mind, to unlock your true potential and to see the world unmasked, then welcome to the psychology of the dark code. You are exactly where you were meant to be. What is the price of your hesitation when your future, your freedom, and your power over your own life are at stake? Are you ready to accept the challenge and rewrite the rules of your game, gaining true strength over yourself and your world?